Alright, I start a song. I do a song called The Wicklow Mountains High. I'm told there's other versions of it, but this is the one I learnt. And people have said to me, oh, it's a big long song. I think I have 2 or 3 verses of it, that's all. But it's the way that my mother and my grandfather sing it. It's a dark song, but with a very light ending to it, on each verse. There were 3 young, jolly, sporting men set out for a hunting one day. They were hunting over the Wicklow Mountains on their way back down for Bray. They spied a naked woman with her hair tied to the ground. Are you the highway robber men? Oh no, we did reply. We are no highway robber men, but robbers try to rob I. They stole away my watch and chain, and likewise my £50. They left me here all for to die, with me here tied to the ground. He lifted her up in his old overcoat to shade her from cold wind. He lifted her up in his overcoat, he took her up on behind. Isn't it lovely to see the sun shining o'er the Wicklow Mountains high? There were men from Ballymanus and men from the Lord knows where. There were men there from the sweet county tip, where the best of men were reared. Isn't it lovely to view the old oak wood from the Wicklow Mountains high? Yes.
Will we pass it over? Okay. We're making this up as we go along, so I hope that's all right. That was gorgeous. It's really lovely. I'm going to start with one of my own songs. I am not, well, I'm from a travelling background, but I was never on the roads as a traveller myself, so my father was. So I'm coming at this from a slightly different place to you, Thomas. I think that I'm on a little journey of discovery, really, and really digging into my roots and my heritage in the last maybe 12 months. And I'm having a great time. I'm learning loads of songs, and I'm learning loads and meeting loads of great people. So I'm really, really delighted to be here, that I can kind of talk about it, you know, because I'm really nerding out about it all the last while. But with that in mind, because I've started thinking about it so much, that I wrote this song about my grandmother. And she wasn't a travelling woman, but she had a really tough time at home. Her father was suffering from post-traumatic stress after the war, and I think he was treating her very badly, so she ran away with the travellers, for want of a better expression, with my grandfather, Paddy. And they had 14 children. 2 barrel-topped wagons, they travelled all over the place, and she became as much a traveller as any traveller, I think, by the time her day was done. And this song is her looking back at her life, I think, imagining her, what she would have thought and what she was thinking about her life on the roads. So it's called Tales of Old. Tales of old, freedom to walk. May you keep them in high esteem. Hear the music sweetly playing when we rambled easy and free. No more the road stretched out before us. I am worn And since the war he is a different man. Now raise his temper and hand to me. When embers smoke, soon the fire awakens, and my poor father could not contain. And so I'll go now with the tinker man. I must away, love, I must away. And in the end, love, when time it is waning, so true-hearted I'll prove to be, for still our hearts are full of wondering, and still our souls run deep with our dreams. Thank you.
Lovely to hear them songs made by yourself. I think lots of people don't realise how many people are half traveller. You know, you were saying about your grandmother. My father wasn't a traveller man, but my father, he was a brutal man. And we left him when we were young. He was an alcoholic, chronic alcoholic, and he gave us a dog's life. So all I ever knew was my travelling family, you know, and they were good, decent people. They kill you with kindness and food too. They'd be shoving the food into your mouth. Oh, look at him, he's like a withered. I'm not so more now. But when I was young, I was very skinny. And they'd be killing you with food, all my aunts. Oh, look at him. They stayed at him. But like, getting back to it, loads of people don't realise how many people are half-traveller. There was loads. I've heard hundreds of different stories from people. One of my friends, John Connors, the actor, you know, he was telling me, I think it was his grandmother or great-grandmother, the father called to a big house, the mansion houses in all different places. And the man of the house was out, but didn't the maid come to the door? And the travelling man said, can I get a bite to eat? Travellers were never refused from any household in Ireland, only these big houses. But the poor young one, didn't she say, yeah, I of course, come in and I'd make you a sandwich or something. And didn't the Lord, whoever it was, come back and said, like, who gave you authority to feed him? Now you can go and join him. And her people lived on the other side of the island. She didn't know how to get back. And she only got the job through somebody else a little later. So she was stuck in the middle of nowhere. So the travelling fella said to her, come on with me. And that's how they got married. Do you understand? Country people were the nicest people you could meet when I was young. And I say it all the time. The old country people, I didn't knock on doors when I caught the houses. We'd just open the door, and if you wasn't there, we'd make tea. And that's how it was, because we'd be selling stuff. We'd go up to Dublin, my uncle might buy 20,000, 30,000 pounds a punt worth of stuff. But all the country people didn't go into towns. I met people who didn't like towns. Do you understand? Old men and women. I remember one case in particular, and I talk about it all the time, about an old woman. And I said to her, oh, when you go into town, and that's how it stuck with me. She looked at me and she said to me, what would I want in the town? And I thought, well, surely you'd want something. And it was an old woman and her brother, and two of them never married. And she said, sure, if he wants tobacco, he goes into the town. She said, or if I want canned stuff. And she pointed out, she said to me, see them trees up there and them fields over there? I said, yeah. She said, that's all I ever was. You know, I was ever around, and I thought, Jesus, some people, their lives are very small. You know, but it's the truth. And it's off those people that the best of these songs come from. Because the travellers going around, my own family sold horses, and they went around the whole island. They wouldn't go into the north. They didn't like the North. The Black North, they called it. That's what they called it. And but there wasn't a county that they wasn't in. There wasn't a house in Ireland that I'd say my Uncle John didn't call it. And if he didn't, you could come from a certain county and you might say a village or a town. He'd say, oh yeah, I know it well. Do you know Mrs. Such and Such? Mrs. Such and Such could be your aunt. Do you know what I mean? Or you knew Mrs. Such and Such. So they were kind of really connected to the people. The hatred against travellers started in the 1930s. People think it was in the 60s when Charles Haughey made a statement, what's the final solution for the travellers? It started with the rise of the blue shirts. This is all documented. From the 1923, when we were only 100 years old, just over 100 years old, ruled ourselves. From 1923 onwards to 33, most judges in the country were members of Cumann. They were from 23 to 33, most judges in this country were women. But up to 33, a certain part of 33, there was less than half a dozen. This was when the Irish wanted to become middle class. Because there was no such thing as a middle class person in Ireland before 1923. The English classed us all the same. You were all second-class citizens. Didn't matter what your job, whether you worked out in the fields or whether you was a tinker. To them, we were all the same, Irish people. So, with the rise of the blue shirts, the first top cop in this country, Owen Duffy, you have pictures of him doing Nazi salutes. So, the man who designed the blue shirt, W.B. Yeats, boasted about it. So these were Nazi sympathisers. And then so jump from 33 to 63, Charles Haughey makes the statement, what's the final solution for the travellers? The man who said that previously was Hitler, about the Jews. So this is what we have had to deal with from 1933 onwards. Travellers never had a chance. And it slowly, the government poisoned the country people's minds. But before that, and even up to the 80s, country people were still friendly to the travellers. But with the rise of the Celtic Tiger, that smashed the back of it. People became greedy, cold. I often tell people, you lost the nature that your parents and your grandparents had, including us as well. The greed didn't just reach the set people, it reached the travellers too. So when you kind of show people you lost the nature that your own people had, kind of, it turns a light on sometimes, a light bulb for some. You know, when you realise the old country people. That's why I always talk about them. I'm sorry, but I thought I'd let you know a little bit of how it started, the racism. It didn't start with country people, it started with the government up in Dublin. I'll do a song my mother used to do. It's an old English song, Lord Love It.
Lovely.
She would do it, Lord Love It. Lord love it was by his stable door, a mountain his meal quite steep. Lady Anne his love was by his side, for to bid him his last Godspeed. Lady Anne his love was by his side, for to bid him his last Godspeed. Where are you going, Lord love it, says she, where are you going from me? For to seek adventures across the seas, strange countries I'd like to see. For to seek adventures across the seas, strange countries I'd like to see. How long will you be, Lord love it, says she, how long will you be from me? Not 1 or 2, but 3 years, Lord, I will be away from thee. Not 1 or 2, but 3 years, Lord, I will be away from thee. That is too long, Lord, love it, says she, and that is too long for me. That is too long for lovers to part, and never again to see. That is too long for lovers to part, and never again to see. A year had passed that very night, he woke from a terrible fright. He dreamed he saw his lovely Diana in the coffin where she had died. He dreamed he saw his lovely Diana in the coffin where she had died. He crossed the sea to his native home, and he entered into the town. The people were mourning and weeping there, all her friends they had gathered around. The people were mourning and weeping there, all her friends they had gathered around. Why are you mournful, Lord, love it, says he, why are ye in misery? Is it one of your friends or your family that has gone to eternity? Is it one of your friends or your family that has gone to eternity? Oh, who is dead, Lord, love it, says he. Oh, who is dead, says he. The lady is dead, an old woman, she said. Her name it is Lady Annie. The lady is dead, an old woman, she said, and her name it is Lady Annie. The coffin it was open wide, the shroud was cast around, and then he kissed her clay cold cheeks as the tears came trickling down. Then he kissed her clay cold cheeks as the tears came trickling down. Lady Annie she died, supposing today, Lord love it, he died tomorrow. Lady Annie she died of a broken heart, Lord love it, a pure sorrow. Lady Annie she died of a broken heart, Lord love it, a pure sorrow. And from her grave there grew a red rose, from his grew a wild briar. They grew so high in the true lover's knot, till the red rose smothered the briar. They grew so high in the true lover's knot, till the red rose it smothered the briar.
Time here, just listening to numbers. This is really fantastic. It's just brilliant.
I did the same. I didn't know she sang.
Oh, this is brilliant. So
we have Karen Casey here.
We have Karen
and Jimmy
Casey.
Crowley and
all sorts of people.
The other half.
How are you? How's it going? I'm not sure what to do now. I suppose I could play a tune. Really, I just want to sing songs, but I suppose I better play a tune. I learned all of my music from my father. He's a brilliant piper. I'm sure some of you know him, Mickey Dunne. And he learned a lot of his music from the blind Dunne brothers, who were his uncles. And they played a lot in Cork, actually. They would have been...
Did you? Yeah. I'll tell you history about your family.
Oh, did you tell them?
To us travellers, because you can't... We all know each other. And if you don't know somebody, you know their family. So, the blind Dunnes, sure, the blind fiddler Michael, his daughter is married to my cousin.
So we're related?
Yeah, we are, whether you like it or not.
Well, you're stuck with each other.
Yeah. But they all kind of knew each other. And for us, we can tell you history about the Dunnes. Travellers will tell you, old travellers, the older ones now than me, they tell you the history of the Dunnes. The Dunnes have been playing fiddles for hundreds of years in Cork. Mm-hmm. This is our history of your family. Mm-hmm. That they were playing in and around Cork for hundreds of years. So I have no reason to doubt that history myself. because although it's oral history and today people like written history, we didn't write. You know, the people before us didn't write. So nothing was written down. But we all have it from family to family. So I have no doubt that the Dunnes played for hundreds of years. They were two lovely old brothers. We'd often hear stories about them.
Yeah, that's lovely, Thomas.
They used to meet up because my family that taught the Dorans how to pipe. Do you understand? They learned from the Cashes. The old, and they're all related to us. The Dorans and the Cashes. And but there's great stories about the Dunnes when they meet up with Johnny and Felix Doran. Because there's loads of tunes that you can play on the fiddle that you can't play on the pipes. So they go and meet the two Doran brothers, the two blind brothers now, your father's uncles. They go and meet them and say, "Can you play this, can you?" No, and only too well that they couldn't. They could play it on the pipes. So that's great history about them, you know, that a lot of people wouldn't know. I love that story, you know.
It's a great
I
story.
can imagine the 2 hour blind men. Can you play this one? It'd be great fun, you know, because they'd be highly frustrated, you know, knowing that they couldn't pipe it.
And
Great stories.
you know, they had cataracts. So
Yeah.
if it was today, a simple
Is that what it
operation.
was?
Yeah, it's a simple operation would cure it in the morning. So it's just. But also, my grandfather Paddy was a great fiddler, and he used to play for the silent movies in Cork, the fiddle. Yeah, and I only found this out recently. So he could turn his hand to classical music, to any type of music, because he was an entertainer.
Yeah.
So whatever they had to do, they'd do. So I could just imagine him playing along to the silent movies, and I just think it's so gorgeous. So I'm going to play a tune that my dad taught me that every musician learns when they're a kid, and I've kind of come back to it recently because it's so beautiful, and I'm having a little moment with it. And it maybe leans into the classical thing of my grandfather a bit. It's Shibiog Shimur. It's gorgeous, and I'm back in a buzz of it, and then we'll see what happens after that. It might be enough. Okay.
Traveller songs. There's a very well-known, I'll tell you the history of this song, and everybody in Ireland knows it, the song Patsy McCann. Well, a lot of people assume that comes from Galway. That does not, it comes from the County Cork. And when I sang it, we have different words for it. But when I sang it, lots of people said to me, oh, you got that off the Shannon singer, Joe Heaney. I said, I did not, he got it off of us. Because that is our song, it's from our community. Now, I was in a room, there was a couple of academics in the room, and they were quickly jumping down my throat over it. And when I told them, so I kind of said to them, I said, well, you know, the woman that's named in the song, Bridget Hogan. And they said, yes. I said, what's her daughter's name? What's her granddaughter's name? And what's her great-granddaughter's name? You can't tell me, because you're not a traveller, you don't know the background of that song. Joe Heaney, when he lived when he moved to Dublin, he lived with the Furies, you know that? Mm-hmm. He had a room in Dublin, but he lived with the Furies. This is a fact. So I've documented about him. Old Finbar Fury talks about him all the time. And so that's a song that's from our community, Patsy McCann. And it was a secret song. There were secret songs. They weren't supposed to get out to the settled community. Because there was a man called, another song, a man called John Brady, the traveller singer. He recorded the song and he called it Sean McNamara. That's not the name of that song. The real name of it is the song I'm going to sing. The real name of it is Paddy McInerney. Again, how do I know? Because I'm related to these people.
I was going to sing that one.
You were going to sing that one?
I think I have a really odd version of it. See, we'll see. You do yours and I'll do mine.
And again, these people...
why were there secret songs? Why did they not want people to...
Well, because she gave my dog's life in Patsy McCann. She was a big, huge woman, about 20 stone. He was a small little man, about 8, 9 stone. She used to tie him up and beat him. You know, you can't run away type of thing. And they made the song up about her.
Yes, it is.
And the other one is Paddy McInerney. The reason why John Riley he knew the real name of it. But he called it Sean McNamara because he didn't want to get in trouble with the family in case he meet them when he's going around travelling. Because they'd turn around to him and say, like, who are you singing about us? You know. So there were secret songs that were sang when the family would leave at weddings and funerals and christenings. You know, and so kind of, that's how they got out. But Paddy McInerney, it is a great song. Patsy McCann was actually a travelling man. Mm-hmm. He wasn't a settled man. Because there's a group of songs where settled men went into travelling camps looking for a wife. Mm-hmm. And they got them. The Baker sings that one, O'Sullivan John.
Mm-hmm. That's what that's about.
But that's well known. We like the unknown songs. So Paddy McInerney. Again, my cousins, they don't like it. I have cousins my generation, and don't be singing that. Because it's about, again, their great grandfather. They're travellers now, but originally they weren't. My name it is Paddy McInerney, such a brave county down man am I. On search of a wife I went travelling from town to town, now you see. Well, the first town I came to 'twas Buttervint. There's a fair dear called Old Carry Me, and the first man I met was Red Danny, and I knew he'd have comfort for me. He ordered me out to his wagon. Good whiskey he didn't give to me. Then first he drew down about Dylan, and the next 'twas his daughter to me. £10 at the fair is my earning. 'Tis a lady your daughter will be. She'll be flashing her piebald and wagon around the main street of Old Carry Me. Well, the first week we were married 'twas lovely, But the second we could not agree, and the third week Doll Julia wore the trousers, and she used a black bottle on me. All fellas looking to get buckled. It's a warning that you'll take from me. They'll be selling their lino and carpets, but they'll be flashing their daughters' teeth. Danny McInerney. That's our version.
I won't sing the whole thing. I'll sing you one verse of it in the Oh, my name it is Pat McInerney, and a gallant Irishman I. In search of a wife I went rambling, and I rambled from town to town. The first place I went was Old Butterfin, the next it was Old Carmy, and the first man I met was Red Danny, a great welcome that man had for me. So it's very similar.
Yeah.
It's the same.
But you know what makes us laugh? Like when they say, oh, a great county down man. No, we'd say brave.
A brave county
You were
down.
a brave man to go into a camp looking for a wife.
It didn't work out.
We can hear all the different versions: sweet, great, brave. But brave, I think, was the appropriate one because you had to be.
Yeah, it's
But
a really great song.
So again, it boils down to what I was saying at the beginning: how many people are half traveller? I think you'd be really surprised at how many people are married in. And I was saying, all the great old Shannon singers had great time for travellers. Great time. If you listen to that recording, somebody gave me a recording of that man, Joe Heaney, and if you listen to the words of what he says, the people of the road, sure, that's travellers. There was nobody else living on the road, only the travellers. So they had great times. And there was another great Shannon singer from Galway, Sean Dunne. I met his family, and the son was telling me great stories about the father. One time there was butter fell off a wagon, and this travelling woman was accused of stealing butter. But the old man, the old Sean Dunne himself, didn't the guards say, oh, he's the witness. So when they got the man into the courts, what did he do? He started speaking Irish to them, and they couldn't understand him. And this superintendent, or whoever he was, he said, I'll deal with him. We'll send for a specialist down from Dublin. And when the specialist come down from Dublin and got him into the court again, what did he do? He started speaking an older dialect that they couldn't understand, and they had to dismiss the case. That he wouldn't go against the woman. That's how the old people were, especially to hear, since meeting, going around for the last, 15, 16, 17 years, you're hearing great stories of the people,
It's great.
From the great old traditional musicians and the singers, their families, So there wasn't much difference. I did a thing about people were saying that there was no travellers that lived in the Gaeltachts. This is a ridiculous statement. So the Rainies lived in Letterfrack, and Dolores King's mother and the aunt got dozens of songs from the Rainies. You have to look at all the old greats. Delia Murphy, her son actually said, no, she didn't. When I know for a fact she did. She says it herself. We used to come out of my cottage, walk left, down the road, and she names all the families. Mahons, who she names especially. Said I got loads of my songs. And I did a thing up on Roscommon, and the son denied it. It's a shame. Denied where the mother got the songs from, because she had no shame in it. Do you understand? She had no shame in telling them all, oh no, I got the songs from the Mahons, And she said she'd sit down by the campfire with them, and there was no animosity, or no badness. So when I thought he was an arsehole, to tell you the truth, the son. I think he's a professor or something, but that doesn't stop you being an arsehole. You know, when you're an arsehole, you're an arsehole. Simple as that. No matter what your background is.
Correct.
And I just thought, you ignorant fool, to myself. And we all know it. All the travellers know. I know the Mahons who told me, yeah, they got songs off from my aunt. You know, so from the horse's mouth kind of thing. There you go. But wanting to distance yourself away from it, you make yourself look more stupid. In my eyes. I'm not frightened to open my mouth.
Look, I can see that.
Or tell you, just the truth.
You're dead right.
No, why should you let him get away with it?
For sure.
You know, because he wants to be posh. You know.
Yeah.
So, because you're a bog man, like the rest of us, come down from the clouds, you know.
I was thinking, I'm sure you have a version of this. There's loads of versions of this one. You know, Lady in Her Father's Garden. I'm sure have you loads of versions of it? Or?
No, I've heard loads of versions.
Heard loads of versions. I was going to give that one a go.
Go on.
I'm nervous now because you probably
No, don't. And you know, I don't mean that. But afterwards, lots of academics come up to me and they say to me, oh, you know, I'm an academic. I can't hit that.
It's not your problem.
No. Telling us who we are.
Well, do you have any background in this song now before I sing it?
Lady and Her Father. No.
No. Okay, so we'll judge us then. So. There was a lady in her father's garden. A well-dressed gentleman came riding by. Stood for a while for to gaze upon her, saying, "White fair maiden, would you fancy I?" "Well, I am no lady, kind sir," she answered. "I'm a serving girl of low degree. I am not fitting, kind sir," she answered, "a serving maid all found to be." "Oh yes, kind sir, I love another, though 7 long years since him I did see, and 7 more I will wait upon him till he returns from the sea. Oh, if he's married, I will wish him happy. If he's drowned, God grant him rest, for he's the one man that does love me, and he's the one man that I do the best. He placed his fingers inside his pocket, those lily white fingers, so thin and so small, drew forth the ring that he broke between them, and when she saw this, well, down she did fall. He took her up all in his arms, those skillful kisses most tenderly. I am your true love, your single sailor. Return, my darling, to wed with thee. Thanks.
A couple of weeks ago, I'm sure you all know this man, Ron Kavanagh. Ron was a great friend of mine. It was Ron that introduced me over here. And I'm absolutely devastated. I feel like as if I lost a member in my own family, like an uncle. We could get on great, we could tell each other to feck off, That's what you call the sign of a true friend. He took me over. I live in London, and I wouldn't have come back only for Ron Kavanagh. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Ron Kavanagh. People say, oh, you would have, but I'd have met completely different people. He introduced me to all his musical friends. He made my first album. I'll never forget him as long as I live, and I'll always talk about him. I don't think Cork realises what you've lost, and I really mean that. This man was a genius. You know, like, he really was. He was something else. And when I sang him this song, Ron recorded a 4 CDs with a book, the history of Ireland through music and song, and I really would advise anyone to go and get a copy. Because that man had versions of songs that the great piano singers didn't have. You know, he really did his homework. And I really mean that now. He was like, when you come over to London, my family are quite funny. My family wouldn't get involved with this at all, my brothers or sisters. When they heard about Ron, they all said, tell him come down and get a bite to eat. So that was kind of his admittance into my family. Because my family don't want to know. I said, you want to come? Say, no, not interested. And they're not. They know all these old songs the same as I do, but they're not interested. But when I met Ron, I sang this song, and he said to me, if I'd have known you at the time, he said, I'd love to have included that song, he said, on the 4 CD book. He said, because this is his words now, he said, I think it's possibly the best love immigration song I ever heard. Although I've sang it hundreds of times, it's one of my favourites from my grandfather. It's a County Roscommon song. The song was called Donald Kenny. The boy that wrote the song, when you go to Scotland, the Scottish people are very quick and tell you that the Irish have no equivalent to Robert Burns. But we do. And his name was John Keegan Casey. I said, well, you go away with Robert Burns. A fella was in his 30s. John Keegan Casey died when he was 23, 24. Robert Burns had 500 and something songs. John Keegan Casey had over 600 songs. And he was only a young fella. So in my eyes, Robert Burns was only trotting behind John Keegan Casey. He was. And his most famous song was The Rising of the Moon. But Donald Kenny is a beautiful song. I give it a go.
Lovely.
See if I can. Come piper, play the shashkin reel, Ireland's the lassies on the door. Merrily aside your wheel, we can dance once more together. At the fair, the pattern off before the reels, the jigs, we trip full money. Near again, this loved old floor will feel the foot of Donald Kenny. Softly she rose, she took his hand, they softly glided through the measure, while clustering around the village band, looked half in sorrow, half in pleasure. Warm blessings flowed from every lip that seized the dancers' every motion. O blessed Virgin, guide the ship, which bears Baldonal o'er the ocean. Oh, God be with you, all he sighed, down his face the bright tears streaming. God guard you well around the cried, upon the strange path you are going. So full his breast he scarce could speak, the burning grasp, the stretched hands taken, he pressed a kiss on every cheek. He sobbed as if his heart 'twas breaking. Boys, don't forget me when I'm gone, for sake of all the days passed over. The days you spent on heath and barn with Dunne or the rattling rover. Mary, a grad your soft brown eyes, willed my fate, he whispered lowly, another has your heart goodbye, heaven grant ye both its blessing totally. A kiss upon her brow of snow, a rush across the moonlit meadows, whose bloom-clad hazels tremble slow, the mossy borings wrapped in shadows. Away o'er Tully's bounding rill, far beyond the Iony river, one cheer on Carrick's rocky hill, and Donal Kenny's gone forever. The breezes whistle through the sails, o'er Galway Bay the ship was heaving. Smothered groans, bursting wails, told all the grief and the pain of living. One farm among that exile band of parting sorrow gave no token. Still was his breath, cold his hand. Donal Kenny's heart 'twas broken.
Jessie, are we? What can we do to send you home? I have enjoyed that thoroughly, Thomas. It's an absolute joy to hear.
Oh, it is great to be here. I want to
So we've never actually met, but
No.
Thomas and my dad are good pals, so I knew this was going to work out. You know, I knew it was going to be okay.
Do you know, I did a gig with, Black O'Connor.
I do.
And didn't you start imitating your dad? Well, I pissed myself off. I'm telling you, I fell on the floor laughing. He had him down to a T. No, I went over. Brilliant.
Yeah.
It was a great day. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, thanks. We can do one more. Yeah. We'll do one more. We'll do one. Would you fancy a bit of singing? Yeah, come on. What about, Randall Irishman? Right, you know the chorus anyway. I am a rambling Irishman, in Ulster I was born in, and many's the happy hours I spent on the banks of sweet Loch Erin. Or to live poor I could not endure, as others of my station. To America I sailed away, and left this Irish nation. Right, tan-tan-na-na, tan-tan-na-na, right, tan-tan-na-na-na-na-dee. The night before I went away, I spent it with my darling, from 4 o'clock in the afternoon till the break of day next morning. And when we were going to part, we linked in each other's arms. Oh, you may be sure and very sure it wounded both our charms. Right, tan-tan-na-na, tan-tan-na-na, right, tan-tan-na-na-na-dee. The very first night I spent on board, I dreamt about my Nancy. I dreamt I held her in my arms, and well she pleased my fancy. And when I woke out of highly discontented. Right, tan-tan-da-da, tan-tan-da-da, right, tan-tan-da-da-ran-da-dandy. When we arrived at the other side, we were both stout and healthy. We dropped our anchor in the bay, going down through Philadelphia. And let every lad link with his lass, blue jacket and white trousers. And let every lass link with her lad, blue petticoat and white flounces. Right, tan-tan-da-da, tan-tan-da-da, right, tan-tan-da-da.